Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Southern Discomfort. I've got Bethany here with me right now.
Hey, and I saw Dustin in chat. Oh, there's PW. There's our girl, our beautiful and lovely ethereal witch, Cool Gamer.
Hey, Cool Gamer.
Yeah, and Dustin said
Yep.
he can't be up on the. He'll be in chat.
That's all right, buddy. He'll man the chat for us. So tonight we're going to continue to do our study on psychic phenomenon, and we are going to get into remote viewing this evening. So we're going to just wait a little bit like we always do, and we'll let some people hop in chat, and then we will do some announcements, and then we'll get the ball rolling and talking about remote viewing.
Now, what exactly is remote viewing, or do you want to wait until more people are in chat before saying what that is?
I'll wait so I don't have to repeat myself.
All right, silly question. In the intro, what is that spinning around? It looks like a corpse or a chicken. I call it a chicken corpse. What is that?
It's a corpse and a ghost.
Oh, okay.
We'll let Dustin tell us. But I thought it was like a corpse ghost. Thank you, Cool Gamer.
Yes, there's our lovely PW, our witch. She does have some wonderful writing. I encourage anybody who's interested in supernatural and paranormal, read her stuff.
Yep, she put some new stuff up on her Instagram about gatekeeping spirits.
Ooh.
Yeah, see, I was right. It's a shell of a corpse.
Oh, okay. Hey, yo, baby. There she is.
Tanya, what's up? So, yeah, I was right and you were wrong.
Well, I'm sorry. Is Vickie coming up? Queen Vickie? Think Texas Champ, the apron. Okay.
Yep. I was talking to Vickie earlier. Yeah, but a spirit wearing it.
Okay.
I was right, Blondie. You were wrong.
You will hold on to that like a dog with a pork chop.
I will.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly will. So yeah, this we didn't get into remote viewing last week because we talked about clairvoyance, and we're kind of taking this a little bit slow because of the information that we're presenting. We want to make sure that everybody digest it, but we got more stuff coming up after tonight's show. We're going to get into precognition and prophecy and telekinesis as well. So we still got several more shows on psychic phenomenon coming at you. Might be extended a little bit, depends on how much information we are able to cover each week. But we have at least 3 to 4 shows left on it.
Very good. And yeah, everybody in chat, share your stories, ask questions. This is a safe space. We don't put anyone down. It's just to inform and to share different beliefs and ideas.
Yeah, it's meant to be educational for people, and the way that happens is by the sharing of information and experience, and that's what we want to do here. So we work really hard at creating a family environment where everybody feels safe and good and welcomed, and no drama. We are a no drama channel, and we will continue to keep it that way. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing tonight if anybody has any remote viewing experience, because it's very, very similar to precognition, and we'll get into a little bit of the different nuances once we get things kicked off and underway here. Hey Kenneth, thanks for popping in tonight, man. I appreciate it. See if I missed anybody.
So far, no.
I think I said hey to everybody.
TW is going to be listening.
Dustin said he'll poo up.
I wasn't going to say that. I just kind of tilted my head. It was like, okay, you didn't have to share that publicly, but okay.
Yeah, Dustin's going to show up with a big pile of
just,
ready for us.
That's...
Just flush it down the Winnebago, right, Bethany?
I will burn it to the ground.
Dustin can come up and sing the Winnebago song for Bethany, which I did. Dustin, I did talk to Emma about getting some music to that. We'll work on that.
No.
Yes, we're gonna have that. We're gonna have that. We're gonna have Dustin and Emma sing that at our wedding. So.
No.
Yep. Hey, Dustin.
Hey, so Dustin.
Dustin, if you can hear me, I just said that we're going to have you and Emma sing the Winnebago songs at me and Bethany's wedding.
That god-awful eyesore, you tie a can to it, it's going to rip half of it off. Why would you pick something like that?
Because you don't like it. That's exactly
No, I don't like it.
And that's exactly why I'm going to pick it.
It's a meth-mobile on wheels, to quote one of the other guests that's been on the show.
Yep. Hold on, my cat's scratching at the door. Come on. You want to come in? Come on.
Aw.
I got Chief with me. Wait for
You're familiar.
Keyboard.
You're familiar.
Yep. My buddy. Here's his tail. Ooh. There's Dustin.
There's Dustin. I think he might be on silent for a while.
So, before we kick things off and get into the teaching and discussion aspect, just a few announcements. What? Hold up. What you got, Dustin?
Oh, yeah. That's
Southern Discomfort. That is the elevator. The door. That was the very first Southern Discomfort issue, which has been the most popular issue. Tetramet Rising, another Southern Discomfort. That's the latest, the Executioner. Swallow, that's issue 2. One Flesh, that's issue 5. That's one of my personal favorites, and Bethany's. Memoir of Darius Fisher, that's a werewolf story. You can find it on Amazon. So thank you for putting those up there, Dustin. But yeah, just with the announcements, since we're on the writing, I'll go ahead and remind everybody of this. So Tuesday nights on the Southern Discomfort Show, everybody who is in chat and who gives the video on YouTube a like, at the end of the show, we're going to put your name in the little spin wheel, and the winner gets to pick the Southern Discomfort issue of their choice. So that's the first giveaway. We've got 2 more, so pay attention. Also, for anybody on Tuesday nights, all the winners of the Tuesday night Southern Discomfort issue, at the end of the psychic series, so in about 4 weeks, at the end of this, I'm going to take all of the winners and I'm going to put them in the little spin wheel, and the person who wins that is going to get ebook copies of my complete written works. So that's 5 books, 2 novelettes, multiple short stories, and every Southern Discomfort issue up until December. So that will all be yours. So the people who win on Tuesday nights will be entered into a final drawing to win my complete works. Now, if you don't win on Tuesday nights, there's still a chance for you to win my complete works. All you have to do is go on Amazon and buy the Kindle or paperback version of Johnny Walker Ranger Volume 2. So the second one, not the first one. and you send me a screenshot of your proof of purchase. And then I would like for you to review the book on Amazon, and you can screenshot me that you've reviewed it. And then if you send me that, you will be you will win. Okay, that's all you have to do to win my complete works. Buy a copy of Johnny Walker Ranger Volume 2, the ebook or the paperback. Send me your proof of purchase, review it, send me screenshot that you reviewed it, and I will send you ebook copies of the rest of my works. So those are the two ways that you can win. Did I make that clear, Bethany? Is that understandable?
Yes. And just so you know, you have a few more people in chat.
Okay, here we go.
Party Music, D-Jockey,
hey,
and
Party.
Teresa.
Hey, Teresa. Thank y'all for popping in. So, yes, everybody in chat eligible for tonight. Just give the YouTube video a like, and at the end of the show, we will I'll enter your names into the drawing, and we'll spin the wheel of chance and see who wins. Hey, Sarah, welcome. See you in chat. So that is those announcements. Second thing is we are going to be, as many of you know, we're going to be at Octagon Hall this weekend leading investigations. We're going to be live streaming that on the channel, so you will be able to watch. So that's what we'll be doing this weekend. For those who weren't able to come or get tickets, you'll still be able to watch on the PPR channel. We will give a heads up. We're not sure when we're going to actually start the streaming, so just go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and you will get the notification of when we start that. So that'll be going on this weekend, which means there's going to be no Sunday Shots show for Sunday, because I will be traveling back from Kentucky. So what we're doing for the weekend is the live stream from Octagon Hall. So you'll definitely want to hop on and check that out.
And it looks like Dustin also make sure to sub to our sister YoBaby.
Yes,
and the links
right. I forgot the channels are connected now. So you can go on Tanya's channel on YoBabyBlondie, and you can watch it on there as well. I keep forgetting that we're connected. So there will be streams on there. Also, Vickie is going to be, I think, pretty sure live streaming it on her Facebook page, Reflections of the Paranormal. So you got all these avenues that you'll be able to watch it, and probably from different angles. So my recommendation would be to have one put up on your phone, have one put up on your computer, so that you don't miss anything, because in these investigations, especially at Octagon Hall, some of this stuff can happen quick, and we're going to be having 3 groups touring at one time. So it'll be a little bit crazy, but you can have both those pulled up. I won't be live streaming because I can't do that and lead an investigation at the same time. I have not developed that talent yet. I will be distracted by one or the other. So I'm just not even going to attempt it unless, I might give my phone to somebody and let them do it. We'll see. I'm still undecided on that. Also, I'm a lightweight. I can multitask several things, but doing the stream and the investigation is not a skill that I have gotten yet. Maybe one day, Dustin, you'll have to teach me.
Also, Dustin put Party Link Good Supporter is for Party Music the Jockey. That's another.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
They called you a lightweight, which you
he did. He did. That's what I was talking about, because I can't stream. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I can't stream and lead an investigation.
Yeah, but you can drive and pick your ear with the car keys. So.
Mm-hmm. No, I can multitask at other things, like useless things like that. But when it comes to something important, nope, no skill. I think that is all for the announcements. So if Dustin, did I miss anything?
Oh, thanks,
Yeah.
PW. No, I call PW the Queen Witch.
Well, Bethany, you're the queen of the Winnebago.
Okay, no, please.
Thank
no.
you, PW. Yep, it's the queen of the Winnebago.
That's not what she meant. And I refuse to believe that's what she meant. That is not what she meant.
Okay. If you say so.
I do say so.
All right. And I think that is all for announcements. So if everybody is ready, we're going to go ahead and get into remote viewing. Dustin say, look out for danger monitor people and equipment, and dance and sing all at the same time. Yeah. Dustin is showing off his multitasking skills here. Let me put it up there.
Aw, PW said, I'm not a queen of anything. She's a queen of your heart, Zeke. Aw.
Aww.
Hey, I'm all about changing the topic away from that duct tape eyesore that's going to give carbon monoxide when you sit at idle. So
well, look, this shows how much you like it, because I was trying to get started in the teaching, and you're bringing it back up again.
Okay, all right. What exactly is remote viewing? Just forget it. Forget I said anything. Let's just dive on into this. What is remote learning? Remote viewing.
So, remote viewing falls into the same category as clairvoyance. It is very similar in the fact that with the remote viewing, and we'll get into this when we talk about the testing, right? There is a target. There's one target. For example, when they were using this in the military, there was they would have targets that they were trying to test and see if these people could find some military hidden bunkers and things like that. And they would not tell the judge who was judging the remote viewing what the target was, and they would not tell the one who was being tested for remote viewing. And so it is a sort of mental conscious capacity where the remote viewer is able to see in their mind clearly the target area and is able to tell what it is, and they will describe it, and then the judge will write down what has been described, and then they'll take it back, and they will compare the target to what was described to see how close of a match it is. And we'll talk about the experiments leading up to that. So it's different than telepathy, where you don't have a sender and a receiver. You just have a receiver who is pretty much trying to find what a target area is. So that's why we're doing it in conjunction with clairvoyance, because it's very, very similar, a lot of the same thing. So with the remote viewing experiments, y'all remember on the past show we talked about a lot of these free response tests where they moved away from the Zener deck, and it was more of they would have these broad range of target pictures of a sea or a boat or a sunset, all these different things. And so with all of the free response tested that they were doing, and that they were having success with telepathy and with clairvoyance, they started reviving this type of testing experiment in the 1970s for remote viewing. And these picture drawing test, right? We've talked about those before, the target, the sketches, and how we talked, I think it was either last week or the week before, like this type of experiment goes all the way back to the late 1800s to like 1882. And then they moved it into to further testing. But again, all of the ESP testing traces back to that one event by Myers and Gurney in 1882 when they were testing ESP. And the experiment started, and then it got overseas, and the Germans and the French were getting into it. And then a famous person, we all know the name, Upton Sinclair. All right, he got involved with this in the United States, and that kind of just set the ball rolling with the testing for remote viewing. And the most well-known concept of remote viewing, right? We are all familiar with the government spies and the government agencies that begin to dump loads of money into this. It was an astronomical amount of money. I have it written in my notes somewhere. Yes, $20 million in funding for these programs, and we'll talk about the programs in just a minute. But I mean, you have the CIA, the DIA, military branches, all involved with what was going on in this research. Okay, and this became popular in the 1970s. So in the 1970s, there was an organization that was started at Stanford University. Okay, I think we all have heard of Stanford. It is a very prestigious university. So that should tell us something right there, that if a university with a reputation like Stanford is starting research in this area, then there's probably some good empirical evidence that they have to make this worthwhile. And this is exactly what happened. They started something called the Stanford Research Institute, or you'll be hearing me refer to it as the SRI. All right, this started in the late 1970s. There was a physicist named Harold Puthoff who was the founder of the program. And for those of you who keep up with the area of physics and quantum physics, you're going to recognize this guy's name because he is very, very popular and did a lot for the field. His name was Russell Targ. He got involved a few years later. Then some of you may have heard of this physicist before, another guy by the name of Edwin May. So already they've got two pretty heavyweights coming into the field to see what is this remote viewing all about. And then Puthoff leaves in like around 85. And so May and Targ really take over the leadership in this area. And then later they move out of Stanford and they move to somewhere else, and they kind of revamp it, and they call it the SAIC, Science Application International Corporation. It was through a major defense contractor, and this is what ended up getting the government involved all the way up, and it finally shut down in 1994. So that's just kind of a brief sweep of the history of the foundations and how they started. All right, so the government agencies, and we're gonna look at the testing and the experiments and the things that happened here. But the government agency was interested in what was going on with the remote viewing testings because they saw it as a way, instead of sending agents out in the field that could be harmed, they saw it as a way to gain valuable information without risking lives. So they were very interested in seeing if this type of intelligence technique would pay off. And what we're going to see is the way that they did this testing is very similar to what we have talked about before. Is they would put them in secluded rooms. They wouldn't let them talk to the judges. The judges would have no information about the target area. So there was a lot of separation involved later on down the road with the testings, in being able to describe these target areas. There's one test I want to describe to you. So you had some government agencies that got with Dr. May, and they wanted to see, this was kind of like their first experience with it, and they wanted to see how successful this remote viewing was, if they were going to start really pouring money into this. And the remote viewer who did this, they just kind of said that they had this target area, that there was, I guess it was some sort of technical device that the military had, and they got the remote viewer to do his thing, and he began describing what he was seeing. And the judge doesn't know the target area, so he's just writing everything down. So they take what the remote viewer saw, and then they take the target area of this technical device, which was it was like some high energy microwave. What am I trying to think of? Generator, a high energy microwave generator that was the target area, and the government officials were blown away with the accuracy in which the viewer was able to describe what he had seen. So this is what really got the ball rolling with them. There's another example where in the late 1970s, when this research was first going on, there was a highly classified secret military facility in Virginia, and the remote viewer pegs it. So some of the skeptics, it was a skeptical newspaper reporter. He was like, I don't believe this at all. So they tell him, like, the remote viewer described the area around it and where it was at and everything. So the newspaper reporter uses the remote viewer's directions, and he goes out to the spot. And at first he's frustrated because it's just like this empty land with nothing out there. And he's standing around walking on it. And the reporter's like, I knew this was all a bunch of bull crap. I knew this was all fake. And so he goes back and he's telling the government officials, this is where I went. These are the landmarks I saw, but there was no military base. There was nothing there. And the officials started laughing at him. And they said, that's because you were standing right on top of it. It's an underground bunker. And so the remote viewer was able to describe it, but it was an underground base. And so he was hitting it accurately, and the reporter was kind of blown away. And so this went out to the press and everything, and remote viewing started getting into the news and stuff like that. Let's shift gears a little bit here, and I want to talk about the procedures, right, and how they go about doing the remote viewing. All right, so a typical remote viewing experiment happens, you have the viewer, right? We've talked about this, and he's asked to describe or sketch a target. The target is a remote location. It could be an individual or a hidden photograph or an object or a video clip. And what they do is all possible paths of any type of sensory leakage are all blocked. So they'll do that by separating the target from the viewer by a distance. Sometimes even as far out as thousands of miles. They will hide the target in an opaque envelope in another sealed room. Or here's the interesting thing. They will select a target in the future. So this kind of brings us into next week a little bit, and we'll hit on this more next week. Precognitive remote viewing. But we'll save that because that was a whole other experiment with a group with the acronym by PAIR. So we're going to hold off on that, and we'll get into that next week when we talk about precognition. So when the viewer is sitting down doing the experiment, sometimes they have an interviewer with the viewer who's asking questions about what the viewer is seeing, what impressions are they getting. But the interviewer, he's just as blind as the viewer, right? He's blind to the target. They don't know what the target is. They haven't been any clues because they don't want the interviewer to accidentally slip and give some kind of leading cues. So the viewer and the interviewer are both blind, and the interviewer is just writing down and he's asking questions, trying to really understand what it is the remote viewer is seeing. And so in some remote viewing studies, a sender will visit the remote site and gaze at the target during the session. So what's wild about this approach is you do have a sense of clairvoyance / telepathy going on there. So what happens is they take the telepathy, the sender and receiver, except they will send the sender to the site and have him look at it and send the mental image to the receiver. And so they tested it this way also. And so this is pretty cool because you start to see a little bit of an overlap. And if you know, we've talked about this on the past several shows, that sometimes there's overlap with these things. And so here you see kind of an overlap with telepathy and remote viewing going on. But most tests weren't done that way. They weren't done like the classic telepathy test. They just had a target wherever and they would try to see it. And then after everything was recorded, the interviewer records everything. They go to the judge, and the judge does what's called the ranking order. And this is what we have talked about the last several shows of how they do it. They do the same thing here with remote viewing. You have pictures 1 through 5, and they begin to pair the pictures with the drawing. And the one that is the most, the closest match gets a 1. Second closest to all the way down to 5. So that's the rank thing. Just like I think it was Dream Telepathy, we had mentioned that type of ranking. And so the judge, who's also blind to what the real target is the one who does that. So you have everybody's blind going into this, right? You have the receiver is blind, the interviewer is blind, and the judge is blind. The judge matches them up, and then they go and find out what the target area actually is. And that's how they start to judge the results of hits on these things. And the target is always, like all the other testing, it's chosen at random. And so when they started having success with these things, they begin to tweak it more. It goes through that design evolution, like we've talked about with all the other testings. And these results are starting to get published in all of these credible scientific journals. I wrote them down here. Nature, it was one of them, and Proceeding of the IEEE. These were some very influential scientific journals back in that time. Nature, I think, is still around. And so as the testing went on, as the methods went on, they tightened them up. So much so that they came up with certain rules. And I want to read you these rules real quick. This is taken from Dean Radin's book, The Conscious Universe. And Dean Radin says, they included rules such as, number 1, no one who knows the identity of the target should have any contact with the remote viewer until after his or her description of the target has been safely secured. So that was the first rule they put into place. Number 2, no one who knows about the target or whether the session was even successful should have any contact with the judge until after the judging has been completed. And number 3, no one who knows about the target should have access to the remote viewer's responses until after the judging has been completed. So they went through extensive lengths to keep the target and the knowledge of the target out of anybody's hands who were involved in the testing. Even after the fact, not until all the results were tallied in, did the people involved in the experiment get to know what the actual target was. And even still, with all of these controls in place, they were still getting the same number of hits. 1973 to 1988 was a big time for remote viewing and testing. Physicist Dr. May, one of the things he did is he did an analysis of 154 experiments consisting of more than 26,000 separate trials conducted over the years from 1973 to 1988. The statistical odds against chance in these 26,000 trials, 154 experiments, this is going to blow your mind. The odds against chance were 10 to the 20th power. That is more than a billion to one. That's 2 billions. Then a billion to one. I don't even know what that number is, a billion. But it's that many zeros. 10 to the 20th power against chance. And as you can imagine, when this came out, people were going bonkers over it. They could not believe it. And they tried to find holes in the testing. They tried to find leaks. They tried to find areas that, to try to explain it. And they couldn't because of all of the controls that were set in place. That number is so big, we can't even hardly fathom that. 10 to the 20th power odds against chance in a laboratory testing that remote viewing is a real thing. And it went on for several more years, 1989 to 1993. They got some skeptics in there to start judging some of these experiments. You had a Dr. Jessica Utz. She was a statistic professor at the University of California. You had a Dr. Ray Hyman. I think I may have mentioned him before. He was the arch skeptic. He was from the University of Oregon. And the review committee, their primary task was to evaluate the remote viewing experiments conducted at SAIC and the SRI studies, and they were going to see if this could be replicated again under their watch. And so they put in all of the same control tests for them. And so you have this distinguished oversight committee running this now. And there were more people, internationally known experts, a Nobel laureate. So lots of high class people, lots of intellectuals. You had a neuroscientist on the board too. You had somebody who was an astronomer, and you also had a retired U.S. Army Major General who was also a physician on this board. All right, so they're ready to poke holes in this thing. So they did 10 government-sponsored experiments with this committee. 6 involved remote viewing. And they did the remote viewing the most on that because it had already been established by the SRI and the SAIC. And they thought that had the greatest chance of being something. The results after these testing. So after studying the SRI and the SAIC experiments in detail, and after this trial that they just did, the committee of all these intellectuals and some skeptics, this is what they came up with. There's 6 things, and I want to read them to you. This can be found too in Dean Radin's book, which I've been telling y'all about this book every show. Dean Radin, The Conscious Universe. Get this book if you are interested in the scientific study of psychic phenomenon. So here's what the committee came up with, what they said. First, it founded that so-called free response remote viewing, where viewers were allowed to describe whatever came to mind, was more successful than the forced choice. Right? The forced choice was the Zinnerdeck. So the free reign was the most successful. Second, in test after test, psi performance among a small group of selected individuals far exceeded performance among unselected volunteers. Dean Radin goes on to say, this was an important observation because if design problems accounted for successful experiments, as critics often assumed, then the selected group would not have been able to perform consistently better than the unselected volunteers. The third thing the group came up with is the mass screenings to find talented remote viewers revealed that about 1% of those tested were consistently successful. So this says that this first class type of remote viewing is really, really rare to be able to see this clearly. It's very rare, and it probably varies across the general public and the general population. And the committee was saying that much like athletic ability and musical talent, not everybody has it. Like some people are gifted with this first class type of ability. And it was only 1% is the statistic that they came up with. Fourth, they said neither practice nor training consistently improve remote viewing ability. I know that is a debated topic because there are people who claim that if you practice, the more you practice, the better you get. Some people say, no, you either have it or you don't have it. Not saying the committee was right or wrong about this, but this was one of the things that they said that they noticed though these people kept practicing, the ability didn't improve or go down. Even with the other test subjects, they never saw an improvement. Fifth, they said it's not yet clear whether feedback about the remote viewing target is necessary, but it does provide a psychological boost that increases performance. So it's good to let the remote viewer know that they got a hit. It increases morale. Sixth, Neither the use of electromagnetic shielding nor the distance between the target and the viewer seems to affect the quality of remote viewing. So what they're saying, you can stick these people in an electromagnetic room. You can put the target thousands of miles away. It's not going to affect their accuracy. That was one of the things that they saw. And anyway, what happens at the end of all of this is our skeptic Ray Hyman, he says that through all of these studies, this cannot possibly be dismissed as due to chance. He goes on and gives a lot of other things that it could not be. I don't want to spoil it for you in case you read the book, because it's just such a beautiful moment seeing this arch skeptic be a part of this and then have this change of heart. But what he ends up saying, all right, Jessica Utz, she's the one who I mentioned earlier. She's the one who really recorded all the foundings and everything. And he says, so I accept Professor Utz's assertion that the statistical results of the SAIC and other parapsychologist experiments are far beyond what is expected by chance. The SAIC experiments are well designed, and the investigators have taken pains to eliminate the known weaknesses in previous parapsychological research. Here's a kicker. In addition, I cannot provide suitable candidates for what flaws, if any, might be present. So he's basically saying, I don't see any flaws. I can't find anything that would be a suitable candidate to say that it would be a flaw in the way that these experiments were conducted, in the way that the controls were set up. So in other words, the arch skeptic finally agrees that with odds this astronomical, there is no way that you can attribute this to chance or selective reporting or statistical problems or any type of plausible design flaws. The only other explanation is that something is going on with this parapsychology and with this psychic research and with the remote viewing. The remote viewing test is the highest one against chance that we have covered so far in our discussion on psychic ability. So that is the scientific laboratory experimentation that was done in remote viewing with so much success that the government got involved, also with so much success that the arch skeptics involved with the latter testing changed their tunes and said everything was right. The testing was right. There's no flaws. This is against chance. There is something unique going on here. So that's the end of the teaching part. I want to go ahead and open it up to questions, comments. Anybody have any stories about remote viewing? Anybody have any experiences with it? And Bethany, it's open to you if you want to fire away too. Anything. Bethany.
I don't really have anything.
Okay. Let's see if I missed anything in chat. Yep. Thank you, PW. I'll put that up there. Remote viewing is a practice of seeking impressions about a distant or unseen subject, purportedly sensing with the mind. Yes, typically a remote viewer is expected to give information. You are correct, madam. I want to hear if anybody has ever experienced this before. I'm still going through. Hey, Scully's House of Thrillers. Thanks for popping in. We just finished up talking a little bit about remote viewing, and I'm trying to see if there's anybody out there who has had any type of experience with this or has known anybody and has any type of stories that they would like to share with it.
Basically, in a lot of what I read, especially in recent years, they have tried to recreate it. Even CBS News back in the 90s, as well as other news sources. And they really couldn't. They actually could find actual cases. And again, I'm not trying to put anybody's beliefs down. I'm not. I'm just, this is just what I read. There's just been a lot of debate.
Yeah, now the issue too, going back to what the committee said, is that their guesstimate is that only 1% of the population has this gifting. And so finding somebody who is able to make those type of hits can be difficult. I think that's also part of the problem.
What's interesting is that from a historical standpoint, that the government actually did do this. I mean, like, this is a real part of American history. And if you go on to different news sites, that yes, psychics allegedly helped with top secret programs, and the Pentagon did deny spending money on the psychic research, even as reports were leaking out in the 80s.
Yeah.
But then in 95, the CIA released a report.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was the number I found was 20 million that they had spent. I don't know if that is if it's more or less than that, but that was the number I found. That they had dumped $20 million into it. And let me see. There is a. Let me pull up my Kindle on my phone. There's another book I downloaded about remote viewing from a lady who was actually trained by one of the remote viewers in these experiments. I don't think it's going to let me pull it up on my phone. I know I have it in Kindle somewhere. I will find that, and I'll be able to tell everybody on the show next week. But it was written by a lady who actually worked with the government and was trained by one of the people involved with it, and she gives a lot of insight of what happened during that time period during the government testing. It's a fascinating book. So I will look that up and get it to everybody next week. It's just it's not letting me pull it up or download it on my phone right now. I think it's too full. I can't even find it in my Kindle app. But I do know this when I tell you the name of the book. If you do Kindle Unlimited, which I do, you can read it. You can read it for free. I do remember it being on Kindle Unlimited. So I will tell you the name of that book next week. The one that I'm pulling information from, Dean Radin's The Conscious Universe, comes at it from an a scientific perspective. So if that's your jam, I haven't read any book better coming at it from that aspect. He does his research, and it's very well written. So yes, Teresa, remote viewing is a part of psychic phenomenon. It's part of the large umbrella of extrasensory perception, ESP. So it definitely falls into that category. For sure. Yes. Thank you, PW, for answering that. And honestly, out of all of the stuff that we've talked about so far on the show, remote viewing is obviously the most popular because of the government experiments, and there's so much written about it. So if you haven't started your study on this before, remote viewing is a good place to start. There's tons of stuff out there about it, easily accessible. So that would be my recommendation, is because of all the access to the information, is go ahead and start with remote viewing.
But yeah, everywhere and you're right, it was about $20 million, and the program ran from 1975 to 1995.
Yeah.
And it was terminated because the conclusion was it just failed to be consistent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the testing that we just mentioned. Let me find one that
Teresa had a question.
Committee, but that was in the late 80s.
Teresa had a question.
Yeah, 1989 to 93. Yes. Where so is that like when psychics help solve a murder or kidnapping? That would be more like remote viewing. Yeah. Yep. In a way where they're able to see a crime scene, see a location, see a killer, and describe the surrounding area, describe the event, describe the murderer or the murder weapon. A lot of the stuff that you see sometimes on the true crime shows. Yes, absolutely.
What I found fascinating is that they said that a huge number of people have either experienced some kind of psychic phenomena or believe in it. So it's not that uncommon, I'm gathering.
Yeah, the belief obviously is not uncommon. What the committee found in their research is remote viewing of this classification, which would be considered class 1, with the pinpoint accuracy that the people that they were tested. So what they did is they went through testing a whole bunch of people, and then they found ones that were consistent and had the talent. All right, so it's just like athletics, right? You got people with no athletic ability all the way up to the pro athletes. Right? They found the pro athletes, and they conducted their experiments with them. Right now, they did testing on all these others, and they found it, inconsistent, and they would miss the target area and all these things. But they found this one group of people that they did all the testing with when they saw the talent, and these are the people that hit the odds of 10 to the 20th power to 1 over chance. So that's why I'm saying the later research, one of the problems could be finding people who have that level of ability, since what they concluded was only 1% of the population has it. So, but this group of researchers, they found people who were highly, highly skilled and developed with their remote viewing. Hey, Myers. Thanks for hopping on, man. Welcome to the show.
And see, for someone like me, I don't know, because I don't have any form of psychic ability. I've never experienced anything, nothing whatsoever. Just so, I don't know. I just, again, from a historical standpoint, I find it fascinating. There's even been rumors that even our Marines and Navy still sometimes are still doing some studies, is from what I researched. So from that standpoint, I do find it absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. And I imagine it's like with anything, you're going to see the ebb and flow, the rise and fall of interest in it. But I mean, I've never tried remote viewing. I've got books on it that I'm still reading. So it is something that I want to try. I don't know if I can do it or not, but it's something I'm interested in. My most experience that I have had has either been like with some precognition and clairvoyance, but I've never tried remote viewing yet. And that's why I'm interested to see if there's anybody out there who has an experience with it and could share from a personal experience what it's like, what the success was, what the hits were. So if anybody who comes back online and watches this show, if you do have real remote experience viewing that has been confirmed, I would love to hear from you. I'm going to put my email in the chat again. So please email me, or I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. You can message me over there if you have a Twitter or Instagram account, or email me, because I would love to hear your experience with it. You got anything, Bethany?
No, it just, again, it's pretty split even today. You still have some scientists and researchers who do call it pseudoscience.
Mm-hmm.
They still, it's still a greatly debated topic, but it doesn't mean it's not still interesting.
Yeah. And the thing with anything that is, and I'm not going to say supernatural, because I don't think it is a supernatural ability. Though what I've talked about on the show before, it can be enhanced and be used, supernatural and paranormal. I would call it more of a preternatural ability, something that is still comes from our consciousness and is still a part of creation and the natural order. It's just kind of, you can't put it under a microscope. And that's the issue with it. Like, this is not like studying evolutionary biology. It's not like studying cosmology or geology, right? This is a little bit more esoteric in a sense, but that doesn't mean that it cannot be laboratory tested, which why they had all of these testing centers and things put in place to do that. It's just a different type of scientific testing, if that makes sense. And you're dealing with something too, that they are looking at, and their standards are high. Their scrutiny is high on this, right? Going back to what they found, only 1% of the population can do what these people did in hitting these targets the way that they did. So you can test people, you're going to have a lot of failure in something like this. But you will come across those people at times who will defy chance. And I think it was just for this committee and during this time period, it was the perfect storm, right? They ended up finding the right people. This was a time for it. Everybody was interested in it. It was being talked about. Government agencies were involved. And so you had the perfect storm around this. And they were stroke of genius, stroke of luck, the hand of God, whatever you want to find it. They were able to find the right people to do the testing on. And so a lot of it does come down to, with testing like this, is finding the right people. And that it can be difficult, especially with the high measure that they are holding it to. And they should hold it to a high standard. So found anything else for us, Bethany?
Well, just some conversations on the chat. PW said most people with these abilities are scared to be called crazy from people.
Yeah.
And
she did say that it is rare and it is a blessing. Yes, just, kind of saying what I was saying. It is rare, especially on that high of a magnitude.
I don't know. I think anything's possible.
Yep. Yeah. PW brings up another good point here. They don't want to talk about it. It's a complicated topic for them to deal with daily routine. I can understand that. That's a good point, PW. I'm scrolling through chat, y'all. Bear with me. Okay. So that is remote viewing. Definitely the rarest form of psychic ability, psychic phenomenon. And why that is, I don't know. I don't know why some of these seem to be more prevalent and some of them are not. But definitely remote viewing seems to be the rarest. But also, what we looked at with remote viewing in that testing that they did, they got the greatest odds against chance. So I think the thing that can come clear, right? Thing that become clear from this testing that we looked at before it was shut down and before they started having failures and not being able to find people. What we can't get away from is the people that they tested during this time period. Those people had something that defied chance. This is almost on the level that you would see about in a movie. It's almost on a level of something. This would be like somebody with telekinesis having something like Carrie or Firestarter. Just the power with this and the odds against chance to be able to do something that astronomical. And then after that, they seem to have failures and not being able to find people that could make the hits like this. So as a researcher in these areas, you're really dependent on who you find, if they are really talented or if they just think they are and they're lying about their ability because somebody blew smoke up their butt. So there's a lot of trial and error in this. Yes, PW. We put that up there. There is that legend around Joan of Arc. Especially, you know, she's had visions and stuff too. So some paranormal stories around her life. And yes, the brain is a powerful tool. You know, if y'all think back some of the earlier shows that we did when we talked about quantum consciousness and the things that were going on in the brain at a deep neurological level, there's still so much that we don't know about the brain and about the quantum fluctuations and consciousness. This to me, this area of neuroscience and quantum physics and consciousness and quantum consciousness, quantum immortality, life after death, this is one of the growing areas of study that is just extremely, extremely fascinating to watch things unfold. So if you go back to some of the earlier Southern Discomfort episodes, I think it was within like episodes like 1 to 4 or 1 to 5. In those beginning ones, we hit a lot on quantum physics, quantum immortality, and the soul, and also how quantum physics works in the universe with a unified consciousness, holographic theory, string theory, and how all of these things make something like this a possibility and reality. And the testing that we see in some of these things do say that there's something going on here. And the goal now with a lot of these quantum researchers is to figure out how is this happening? How is it all connected? How is the quantum fluctuations and consciousness in our brain connected to the quantum fluctuations in the rest of the universe? How is all this interconnected? And so if you don't follow this field of study, you need to, because it's extremely important and mind-blowing and fascinating. And you know, in the future, who's to say that we won't get into this some more? I'll go back and kind of do a refresher on quantum physics and quantum consciousness. But yeah, so anything else about remote viewing before we kind of start wrapping it up here? Boo Bear, you got anything?
No, I'm good.
Yes, thank you, PW. It is a very cool topic. So next week we're going to kind of bridge the gap and start getting into precognition and prophecy. But we're going to start off with the PEAR, what's the acronyms, the PAIR experiments with remote viewing and precognition. If you remember what I talked about earlier in the show, there was a testing that was done to where they could see if remote viewing could be done with a future object. So we are going to look at some of that next week. So yes, Dustin, Winnebago. We're gonna get into the pair experiments, precognition and prophecy, and then telekinesis, mind matter interaction, and you know, I'll throw in as a Christian theologian. Starting next week, I didn't have time. I knew tonight I wasn't going to have time to really throw something else in there. But I'll start talking about this stuff from a biblical perspective. I've mentioned it before, and it'll kind of go along to what I've said, that you know, this is nothing demonic. This is nothing satanic going on here. This is some innate ability that can be used by humans. It can be heightened by God. It can be used by other spirits, used by angels, used by demons. It all depends on how the person uses this ability, just like with any other natural ability that they have. how are they using it? Are they using it to honor God, or are they using it for something else? So I'll talk a little bit about that too. And I have this book now that I'm on the subject, and I one day want to write a book, and I'm already kind of doing it with the notes that I'm gathering on this and stuff that I'm writing. But I cannot find hardly anybody out there who is coming at psychic phenomenon from a thought out Christian biblical perspective. Most that's out there, they just consider it as demonic. And as you know, I don't think that. And so I want to kind of do an integrative theology for the Christian community. Who knows? I may get stoned to death. I don't care. I mean, I've already got stones thrown at me for being a horror author and doing the paranormal, so a few more aren't going to hurt. But in my research, I was able to come across one book, and it was written a while ago. Let me see when the actual publication date is on this. I was able to find it on Amazon, used 1984, by a theologian by the name of John J. Heaney. This is called The Sacred and the Psychic. It's a Christian theologian that wrestles with these issues and integrates them with a biblical theology, and goes through the difference of psychic phenomenon, and then some of the Holy Spirit inspired events in the Scripture. And so this was such a cool book. Obviously I don't agree with everything in it, and you're not going to agree with everything in a book that you usually read, but my goodness, did this guy bring up some good stuff, and was this a good springboard for my research? Because I got this book about I think 14 years ago. It's what really led me as a Christian into the study of these things and looking at them. I can't recommend it enough. The Sacred and the Psychic, John J. Heaney. Hopefully you can find this. It is rare because obviously he probably didn't do so hot in the Christian community at that time with publishing something like this. But if you can find it, grab it. Don't let it pass you by. Oh, you've seen it, PW? Yes, grab it then. If you see it. It is called, I'll put it up there again, The Sacred and the Psychic, John J. Heaney. That's the name of this one. The other one that I've been getting my research from, I'll see if I can pull the cover up for y'all. Crap. This one is Dr. Dean Radin, The Conscious Universe. I scroll all the way back through the cover. I don't know how well you can see that. The Conscious Universe, Dr. Dean Radin. That's the one you want to get to. So, now, it is time for our giveaway. Let's see who all we have in chat. Bethany, can you help me with this?
What?
I'm going to make a wheel spinny thingy. I need you to... I'm trying to edit this thing. Hold on. we're going to do the giveaway for Southern Discomfort. Okay. I need you to read I'm going to need you to read me the name of everybody in chat here in just a second. If you don't want to participate in this drawing, speak now or forever hold your pee. I'm looking. Okay. All right. Nobody has said that they don't want to be entered into the drawing. So I know we've got PW. We've got Myers. We've got Teresa.
We got Crossover.
Crossover.
YoBaby.
YoBaby.
Camo.
That's Dustin. Don't give him anything.
Fine. Scully's House of Thrillers.
I'm just picking Dustin. Dustin, all you got to do is ask me what book you want. I'll give it to you.
Makeup Mom and Son.
Hold on, Scully. It keeps trying to autocorrect it to Skulls.
You need to pay attention. You're not paying attention.
Okay. Who was after Scully? Who'd you say?
Makeup Mom and Son.
Makeup. All right. Who else?
Sarah's Musical Life. Party Music. D-Jockey.
Party Music.
Uh-huh. Kenneth. Cool Gamer. That's it.
All right.
So next week, with it being premonitions, isn't that seems to be one of the more prevalent forms of psychic ability? Like most people who say that they do have psychic ability, that seems to be that, and precognitive dreams, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. All right, y'all. I have got the wheel ready. It's very crowded because I have each of your names in there twice. So the wheel is packed tonight. So we're going to give her a spin. All right. Spin the wheel. Teresa, you win the Southern Discomfort of your choice, and you will be entered to win at the end of this my full volume of work. So Misty won last week. Teresa won this week, so their names will be entered. So Teresa, I will send you the Southern Discomfort that you want. I'll go ahead and let me put I know it's up on pinned to this, but I'm going to put the link in the chat. And that's too for anybody else who wants to get on there. The Southern Discomfort issues are very, very affordable. So Teresa, take your pick of which Southern Discomfort story you want, and you can just message me over Facebook, since we're friends on Facebook, and you can let me know which one you want, and I will shoot it over to you. You knew that was going to happen. Precognition, Teresa. Precognition. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to write Teresa's name down here. Now, just to remind everybody, too, that the other giveaway that I'm doing is if you buy a copy of Johnny Walker Ranger Volume 2, right, you do not have to have read the first one to understand what's going on in Volume 2. I did it that way on purpose. They still connect, but you don't have to have read the first one to understand the second one. So if you buy a copy of Johnny Walker Ranger Volume 2, either the paperback or the Kindle version on Amazon, and you send me a snapshot of your purchase, and then when you review it on Amazon, you send me a snapshot of your review. That's all you have to do. You do that, you send it to me. I will send you every ebook copy of my complete works. So that is a pretty cool deal. And then all the winners from the thing tonight will be entered into a drawing to win all my complete works at the end of the Psychic series. 1 second here, y'all. I'm entering Teresa's name in on my list of winners so I do not forget. All right. Now, there is something I want to do before we say goodnight and before we put Dustin's video up. We haven't done this all night, so I want to make sure that we're able to get this in. Bethany, I love you. Right there.
No, well, better than the old one. I hate to say it.
Oh, no, Dustin, do we have the other picture?
No. I mean, I'll take it. It's missing a wheel, but that looks like paradise.
Glorious one.
No.
Oh, I found it. Hallelujah.
No.
That is the Dream Chariot.
No, it's not. Dear God, no.
This is when Bethany
it just keeps looking worse every time you put it up there.
This is what we are going to drive off in. So this is what we'll be driving in. Dustin and my daughter Emma are going to be singing the Wedding Winnebago songs at our wedding. That's not even a Winnebago. That's a van, and somebody just built around it. It's an RV. It's still an RV. You can sleep.
I don't know what it is.
I bet it's got its own bathroom too.
I'm sure it does. It also looks like it certainly looks like it's going to get filled with carbon dioxide, like every time you start it.
All for you, my love. Love. So here is the cover for Johnny Walker Ranger Volume 2.
Good segue.
Yep. It fits well. Johnny is an alcoholic redneck who discovers the secret to killing demons. In Volume 2, he steals Gabriel the Angel's God phone, and he royally screws up the multiverse by using the time travel app. And because of his shenanigans, him and his team get sentenced to Pennsylvania in an Amish paradise where Johnny must take on new demons and new hounds of hell in the next installment of Johnny Walker Ranger Demon Slayer Volume 2. So that is the book. Now, if you haven't read the first one, It too, the ebook is on sale at Godless for 99 cents, y'all, for a whole ebook. The paperback is on sale on Amazon for less than $7. It's like 55% off right now for volume 1. So if you haven't read volume 1 and you're interested in reading it, now is the time to snatch it up. If you're a paperback person, go grab it on Amazon right now. That's 55% off. If you're an ebook person, go grab it on Godless while it is 99 cents right now for volume 1. Okay, take this off.
By the way, Teresa did say she wanted the door. No, Teresa, that is not a fixer-upper. He's going to take it as is.
Let me get back to the comments. Yes, the door. There's my cat.
Good. Smack him in the face, Chief. He deserves it.
That's my buddy. That's my buddy. I will send you the door. The door has been definitely one of the most popular ones. It is a paranormal ghost story / supernatural. So people have really, really, really liked that one. So Teresa, I will, as soon as we get off the show, I will send you a copy of the door. Look at this. Stop teasing her, poor Bethany. Now, PW, you know that's not going to happen. And honestly, if I quit picking on Bethany, she would wonder what is wrong.
Yeah, I would worry that you were told that I had like 2 days to live.
She'd be like, you don't love me anymore. Why are you doing this?
No, I would be like, what's wrong? Just tell me what's wrong. What is it?
We once had a bet that to see if I could go, how long was it for me to go without making a sarcastic comment?
20 minutes.
And what did I last? Like 2 minutes?
It was like 10 minutes. And I said something and like you didn't.
I tried so hard, y'all. So hard.
Yeah, right. It's just your nature.
Yeah, it is. So we're going to go ahead and wrap everything up for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and hanging out while we talk about remote viewing. Congratulations to Teresa for winning tonight's raffle and getting a copy of The Door. We will be back live streaming Saturday. So if you haven't subscribed to the PPR channel or to YoBaby's channel, subscribe to those. Get the notifications of when we all start streaming. I know Dustin is going to be streaming on the PPR. Tanya's probably going to be streaming on the YoBaby channel. Vickie's going to be streaming on Reflections of the Paranormal. So get on those channels. Pull them all up. Watch what's going on. It'll be all from different angles. So that'll be Saturday. Again, not sure what time. So watch those notifications. And then no show Sunday night. So show-wise, we won't be back here until Monday night with Dustin's show, Hauntings and Beyond, at 9:30. So we will see you then. Again, thank you, Bethany, for being up here with me. I love you so much, and I love when you're up here with me.
No, it's my pleasure. I love being up here, and all you guys in chat are awesome. Love you all.
Yeah, much love to the rest of the PPR crew, to Vickie and Tanya and Dustin, all of our people in chat, everyone there. Thank you all for coming by and tuning in and listening. We love y'all, and we love hearing from you in chat, and are so thankful that you continue to give us your support and watch the channel. We continue to pride ourselves on being able to pump out some great information, stuff that people aren't doing, not talking about. We try to do everything with integrity and in a professional manner. That comes with not only our research, but also in how we do our investigations, which when you watch Saturday, you will see how that is done. I'm going to go ahead and get Dustin's inspirational video up here in just a second after I scroll through everything. All right. I got it. Thank you, everybody. We love you, and we will see you next time.
Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know. I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? Nowhere to go, so far from home. Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know. I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? So I break these walls and hold